Hi crafters, it's Chloe from Chloe's Creative Cards, and today I am going to be showing you how to create this beautiful card using our brand new Chic Shoes stamp and die set and Ornate frame 3D embossing folder and die set from the Chic Boutique collection. So we're going to get started. We're going to be using some of the Chic Boutique papers as well. So I've taken the paper pad and I've just picked some lovely blue papers that we're going to work with for this one. So they look a little bit more kind of turquoisey because the original one was actually just, these were printed from our computer. So the ones that I'm using today are the ones that you are going to get in your paper pad. So to start with, I've taken an 8x8 card blank, which is this one here, and I've taken a piece of white card and I've just cut that down to 7 3/4 inches square. I'm going to take a chisel tip glue pen, and I'm also going to take a piece of scrap paper and some crystal crushed glitter, and we're going to just edge just around each side of this one. So we'll take our chisel tip glue pen and we'll just drag that along each edge of the white card like so, and then we're going to dunk that in to our glitter. And there we go. And then we're going to take our card blank in. So this is an 8x8 card. I'm going to take a little bit of glue and I'm just going to stick this down so it's flat on our base card. And then we'll stick this onto there. Like so. And then I've taken my papers, so I've cut the next one down to 7.5 inches square. And again, just edge that with that crystal crushed glitter, and I've got some foam pads just on the back of here. So just going to peel the backs off of those. And then we're going to stick that down onto our base card. And then next up, I've got another piece of white card, which I've cut down to 6 3/4 inches square. And again, we're just going to take the backs off the foam pads. And stick that down onto our card blank. And then we've got that lovely starry paper. Again, I've cut that down so it's around 6.5 inches. And then I've gone around with my glitter and popped some foam pads on the back. And we're just going to stick this down. So we'll just take the backs off of these. And then we're going to stick that down onto our base card like so. So then next up, we are going to take some crystal white pearl card, and we're going to take the Ornate frame die, which is this one here. Going to position that down and just low tack tape it into position. So, and I'm going to take the next little oval, that is the inner as well, and we'll cut that at the same time. So we're going to take our plates. I'm going to use my base plate and plastic shim, and then my cutting plate on the top with my Gemini. And then we'll just send that through. And then when we lift that out, we're going to have this lovely frame ready to stamp our sentiment on. And then we've got the shape for the Ornate frame. Just grab my little rubbish basket in. I'm just going to take a little pokey tool and just push through these little bits, which are like the landlocked pieces. Like this. And then we'll pop that to one side. And then we're going to take our Ornate frame embossing folder. So this is a 3D embossing folder. So the way this works is it's going to push the card into the folder to kind of stretch the fibres of the card to give you this lovely 3D effect. Now what I've found is quite often the embossing folder kind of moves a little bit when you feed it into your die cutting machine. So what I tend to do is line it up. But line it up so it's more lined up with just this bottom half here, if that makes sense. So then when it moves, it pushes through and then it pushes the other bits up, if that kind of makes sense. So we'll tape that there and we'll pop a little bit of tape just there. And then we'll fold that up and send it through the folder, so send it through the machine. So I'm sending it in with the open side of the folder first. And I'm using my base plate and my plastic shim. And then once we've sent that through and lift it out, you will see how it then has lined up perfectly on the design. So what we can then do is we can take our dries clear glue again. So we're just going to take a little bit of this and we're just going to work round and just start to add a little bit of glue just onto the frame. And it almost looks like one of those beautiful kind of ornate mirrors. That's my plates just dropping on the floor there. So we can just add in just a little bit of glue just onto some of the little kind of details. There we go. And then we're going to take our Crystal Crush glitter and we're going to just cover this. Cover the glue. With the glitter. Okay. So you can see how you've just added a little bit of sparkle onto that frame. We're going to take that little inner oval that we cut as well, and we're going to take an anti-static bag and just dust that over. We're going to take our Wow Clear embossing ink pad and we're going to take our To the Birthday Girl sentiment stamp. So that's from the Fashionable sentiment set. We're going to ink up our stamp. We're going to position that down onto the oval. Then we're going to lift that off. And then we're going to take our piece of scrap paper, sprinkle over our embossing powder and tap away the excess. And then we're just going to heat this up. There we go. And then we can grab our scrap paper back in and we're going to take our chisel tip glue pen, and that's the wrong glitter. I want Crystal Crush, not Crystalina. Let me grab the other one. So we're going to take our chisel tip glue pen and our Crystal Crush glitter. And then dunk that in like that. And then we're going to take our Dries Clear PVA glue. So we're going to take this and we're just going to add just a few kind of little dots in behind the sentiment. Like that. Then we're going to sprinkle that glitter over the top, and it's then when it dries, it's just going to give a little bit of sparkle around that sentiment. So So I've got a little frame that I've already put foam pads on, and I've got a little sentiment that's dry. So we'll pop that to one side. So we're getting all of the elements ready to assemble on our card. I then had a little scrap of this blue paper left over from another project. So I thought we would use the little string bow die. So I'm going to tape that down. I'm going to die cut 2 of these out. So again, we're going to grab our plates in. So I'm just going to use my base plate plastic shim and my cutting plate. We'll just send that through. And we'll take that out. So that's one little bow die cut. And then we're going to do exactly the same with this second little bow here. So just send that through. And we'll just grab that at the other side and just push that out of the little die. There we go. So this is the little string bow. So we brought this one out quite a while ago. It went with the Build a Bouquet collection, but it's a really handy, nice little bow to use on your project. So we do tend to use it quite a lot. So I've then taken a little sparkler and I'm going to stick these 2 bows together. So we're just going to take our glue, pop a little blob in the middle, and stick that down there. And then we'll take our little sparkler, just pop that down in the middle there. And then you can see how that creates that lovely little 3D bow for your project. So again, we'll pop that to one side. And now we're going to start doing the fun part of building up the shoes. So I'm going to take just a piece of plain white card. And I've got my little anti-static bag. I'm going to give my card a little dust over. And then I've taken my Chic shoes stamp and I've popped it onto an acrylic block. And I'm going to use my Wow clear embossing ink pad. I'm going to just ink this up. So for this project, you are going to need just the 2 shoes stamped and embossed, but we're going to glitter them slightly differently. So I'm going to explain how to do that. So just get that inked up. And then we'll position that down onto our card, lift off, and then we're going to use our polished silver super fine embossing powder again. We'll sprinkle that over and tap away any excess. If you've got any little stray flecks of powder as well, you can just go in with a little paintbrush and dust away. And then we're going to use our heat tool. And just heat the image up. And then just give that a couple of seconds just to let it cool down a little bit. And then we're going to take our die and just pop it over the top. And then we'll just tape that down in place. And then we'll take our plates again. So we've got base plate and plastic shim. And then we've got a little cutting plate on the top. And then we're going to send that through. And we'll grab that at the other side. And just push that through, like so. So what I've done is I've got 2 that I've already done, okay? And we are going to cut them down, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you're going to do is take a Copic marker. So for example, I am using B12 and just colour the shoe in. So I've just picked a colour that kind of matches the papers. And you can be really, really rough about this, how you colour it. You don't need to be careful or anything like that. Okay, I'm just going to do one to show you. Like that. And then we're going to take our dry clear PVA glue and just go in and you just scribble and colour over the top until you've got the full section kind of flooded with glue. Like that. And then you cover it in your Crystal Crush glitter. And then when that glue dries, it's going to dry clear and it allows the blue to shine through from underneath. So that then gives you those shoes that are going to match your card perfectly. So what we've then done is we've taken one and we've die cut it out fully, glittered the heels, and I've used a little bit of Twinkle Twinkle. Is it Twinkle? Yeah, Twinkle Twinkle Sparkelicious glitter. It's not Twinkle Twinkle, it's Sleigh Bells. I'm getting all confused. That's an old one. This is Sleigh Bells that we've got on this one, which is the newer one that we brought out last Christmas. But if you've got Twinkle Twinkle at home, you could use that one as well. So we're then going to take this second pair of shoes and I'm going to take my scissors and we're going to just cut out just the front kind of panel of the shoe. So we're going to cut this part away here and then we're going to cut this back part away. Okay, so nice and easy. And then we're going to take some foam pads and then we'll flip these over. Just pop a couple of these just onto the back. And we can just peel the backs off of those and then position these down onto the shoes. And like that, and you can see how that's then looking. And then what we've done is we've taken the little bow stamp that you get on the shoe and we've stamped 4 of them out onto a little scrap of this the darker blue paper. So we've done 2 that we've glittered and we've used that Sleigh Bells glitter again, and then we've done 1 where we've just left them plain and we've stamped and embossed those in opaque bright white superfine embossing powder. So we're going to take those little bows, these top ones, we're going to just lift them up just a little bit and pop a little sparkler in the middle, of course, that extra little bit of bling. So pop that in there. Take a bit of PVA glue and stick the 2 together, so then you get that glitter shining through from underneath, which does look really pretty. Do the same with this little one here. So a little sparkler in the middle. So I'm going to go onto there. like that. And then we'll just pop those to one side, and then we'll get those bows stuck on when we assemble the card. So to start to bring our project together, we're going to take our frame, and I've got some foam pads just on the back of here. If you wanted to, you could do a double layer of foam pads for the frame. So I'll show you how to do that because it gives it that little bit more dimension. So you can literally just stick another foam pad on the top. Layer those up, so it then gives you a double layer, and quickly take the backs off. And there we go, and then we can stick that down onto our card, and then we can take our little sentiment and pop that in the middle. So we'll stick that onto there. And we'll take a little bit of glue just onto the back of that bow and stick that down. And then we're going to take our shoes. So again, I'm going to take some foam pads just onto the back of these. Stick those about there. And I'm going to take a little foam pad. You could use 3D glue gel, but because I'm showing you how to do this one at home, I want it to kind of stick straight away. So that there. More glue to there. Foam pad just under there, so you can see how lovely that is all layering up. And then we'll take 3 little dots of glue just in the bottom corner and 3 in the top. And then we'll take our little our jewels from our Bling box. So I'm going to use these 3 pretty blue ones. So these are turquoisey. So these are actually from Wonderland, which is a Christmassy Bling box. But it is a lovely one for using kind of all year round. And then we can just take those little jewels and pop those onto there. Take the jewels and pop those onto there. Like so, and that would then be your finished card. So I really hope that you've enjoyed creating this project with me today. That was using the Chic Shoes stamp and die set. All of the materials used are available from www.chloescreativecards.co.uk, and of course I've listed everything in the description below. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got lots of fantastic videos coming your way very soon. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye.